Hello and welcome to Do by Trains. In this video I'm going to show you guys how I painted this brick building. After following these 6 simple steps, you will know and you will have learned how to paint any brick building actually in different various shades and tones. I'll try to make it as flashy as I can, so let's have a little musical intro and let's get started. So I said 6 different layers, and I did some experimentations because you can leave some of the layers out. I'll show you in a minute, but let's just go through them really quickly. We have a base coat, we have mortar, we have brick accents that we're going to sponge on. Brick accents, we're going to do a dry brush of that, then we're going to do a wash, and then we're going to add some more accents to the building, some grime. So wait, stop. I hear you say 7, 8 layers. Well, the methods I'm going to show you in the layers, you can actually pick and choose any one you want. And this latter layer is super easy. You can do it in 5 minutes. It's just a spray can and then a wash. So that's the easy way out. But we're going to use all 6 or 7, I don't even know how many layers I used, all layers to create this effect. So I would say watch the video and check which effects you like and go from there. If you want to go quick and easy, you can. So layer number 1. Ding ding ding, the base coat. I just use a flat or satin primer. In this case I got a flat red from Rust-Oleum. Now if you cannot find these in your local hardware store, check on the Big Blue A website and on the interwebs, and maybe you can find them there. Now if you have a normal Walters kit, it will look something like this. Get past this one. If you follow my channel, you know that I'm working on this building as well. And these are relatively easy to paint because you can just paint, spray can the bricks, and then you can paint the windows, the window sills individually, and then plop them in here, and then you're 90% good to go. Now that's of course not what I got here. I got a Cities Classics building, and this is all basically, these are 1, 2, 3, 4 different castings. So all the details that you see on here, the window sills and these little brick details, and it gets even better on the back, all these concrete sections, those are all hand painted on here. Now I'm going to be honest with you, and I didn't do this. I got a good friend of mine who's better at painting than I am, and she did this, and she said it was not easy. So that's the base coat. So let's start with ding ding ding, layer number 2, the white mortar. I'm going to mix this with some water and a relatively thick wash, and I'm going to get a lot of kitchen paper ready because we're going to take most of it off again. So here we go. Building is done, and remember, it's going to eventually look like this one, so don't worry. I might leave a little bit more of the white on in certain areas, a little bit patchy, but we're definitely going to get rid of 90% of all that white. Now it's all dry, so we're going to go onto the colors. And what we're going to do, I'm basically going to mix them up right here. And I have 3 colors. I wanted to get another one that's a little bit less fiery than Tuscan Red, but Tuscan Red seems to work just fine. Georgia Clay and Burnt Sienna. Those are the 3 colors, so a little bit red, a little bit orange, and a little bit brown. And we're going to do it very gently. So I have prepared some brushes. This is the old brush I did for the test piece. So I have a brush here that's, sponge. Who's awake? Here, so this one is a little bit more thin, and this one has the maximum surface area because we do have quite a lot of surface area to cover. Now some lessons learned from these test pieces, and you can see it specifically here with this one, is that it's just a little bit too patchy, it's too flaky, it's too cheetah-y. That's a word, cheetah-y. It's too much of a camouflage pattern. We can have different colors in different areas, but try to keep it in larger sections. You can always get more of a certain color if you think that the building is getting too red or too orangey, or you know what I mean. And depending on the amount of the mortar that you want to see, now is a time where you want to try to be either a little bit more careful, use a little bit less paint on the sponge, dab a little bit less hard, or go completely wild if you don't want to see that mortar. But then again, then you probably shouldn't have put it on in the first place, to be honest. So here's the result, and you see there are some patches of colors. It's not a continuous, homogeneous field of red, but the patches are relatively big and yeah, spotty, trying to avoid that cheetah effect. The back was not easy, I'm not gonna lie about that. I needed to cut the brush, there we go again. Cut the sponge in different sizes, and I also used a small brush, something like this. This is completely tortured actually. And to try to get closer to the windows. Here's the other side. Now this is a beautiful spot for a nice little decal, so we're gonna do that later. And the front was tough, I'm not gonna lie about that. I did most of it with the brush actually at the end. I could do these lines with the sponge. That's about it. And we're gonna clean all this up. I mean, a lot of the mortar went onto the windowsills, but that's fine because we're going to go on to step number 5, which is going to be the wash. We're going to take that away, but first, before 5 comes number 4. Ding, 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 ding. And that's this one. Ding, 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 ding. Yeah, that's 4 times. And that's going to be a little dry brush with antique gold. Because if you look at the test plate I did, you see some of that antique gold on here. And it's just a yellow shininess. And that gives actually quite a nice effect for some reason. So that was layer number 4. And if you see it here, it's very subtle, this yellow. But I don't know, it really adds a lot to the building. It really gives this layer of depth. It was just a bit bland before. And yeah, we have just more depth now with this little bit of antique gold sprinkled onto it through the dry brushing technique. So happy I did that. Now onto the next layer, and that's going to be number 5, which is a wash. So I'm going to set the building straight up because the gravity pulls the wash and the water down. And so if you do it like this, then it's all going to be on the left side of the building. It's not going to be equal. And we're going to mimic a little bit as well the natural dirtiness of a building due to pollution. So that's why I want to have it standing straight up like this. And I'm going to put the wash everywhere. And when you're doing this step, also have a look where the building sits in the landscape. So in my case, that it sits in between tracks and there's a coal trestle, so it's just going to be dirty all around. So what I'm basically doing is applying a base wash over the entire building. That's what you're seeing right now. And then I'm getting just water on my brush. I want it to be a little bit lighter, freshen up a little bit. I have also the darker, super dark wash, which is just paint with very few drops of water to basically do some kind of like wet on wet painting. It's really mixing, it's great. So here we go. And again, if you don't want to do this wash, that's fine, you don't have to. If you don't want to do the mortar, it's fine. If you don't want to do the brick accents, it's fine. All yield good results that just give a different look. So here we go, here's the wash. Let me see how dark this is going to be. I think it's alright. It always dries lighter than it actually is when you apply it. You can already see it. All the paint effectively is going down. So I'm going to continue with this. Like I said, I'm going to put it everywhere, also on the concrete, left, right, center, top, bottom. And here is the result of all the washes, and as you see, I really try to create some layers to have it lighter on the top and darker on the bottom. Same with the side and the other side. I really like how this all turned out. And the front was a bit fiddly. I really wanted to get into all these little nooks and crannies, but it just was a bit too much whitewash still, too much mortar. So I had to come back later with a very fine brush and add some extra wash just in these edges right here where the dirt and grime would sit. So now all the steps after this is detailing, and we're going to start with some wall painting, some advertisements, and here they are. And as you see, there's different types, and I'm going to call these decals. They're not decals, they're just images that I found printed on very thin paper. And in real life, these would be painted onto the bricks like that. But we'll just call them decals because we need to choose a word for it. So I have different types. I have these that are just basically images, and I have these that were actually murals back in the day. And the big difference is that these have some brick line detailing on them as they were painted on the brick. So what did I do to prepare for this? I actually took a picture of the structure with a ruler next to it, and I made those bricks to scale. And they're close enough, I would say, because you can have a brick lining on here, but then you do need to make sure it's to scale, right? Otherwise it's just going to look really weird and out of place. So that's what I did. And for these images, other images, there's no need for that. I also blew them up really big because you can, basically. So what are we going to do with these now? And I'm basically using the Jason Jensen method. So have a look on his channel if you want to see the original method. I improved it a little bit. What does he do? We sandpapered it as thin as we can get it, so then we can really get the texture of the brick in here. And in some places, even went through the paper, which I think will have a nice effect. I did choose it wisely to put it through the paper, like not in the middle, very detailed section. And I said I'm going to improve Jason Jensen's method, and I'm going to mix that with Boomer Diorama's method, which is a matte medium instead of Elmer glue that he uses. And why? Because matte medium just dries a bit more transparent and matte, and it's also quite liquidy and therefore a little bit easy to work with. So I have it right here, some matte medium here on the paper, and this is the first time right kind of deal. Adding more matte medium to the top. Trying to stay away from the bricks a bit. It will dry up matte. You won't really see it at all, but still can prevent it from getting in there. I think this is as good as I'm going to get it. So yeah, I do see some texture there. But there we go. I'm happy with that. You can really see this brick motif that was in the print, and the same here. That's really helping us out right now. And this one, the last one, does not have that. It's just an image. So we'll see the difference once I do that one. Here we go. I want to place this one right here. I think I'll try to get it in the middle. That will look nice. Not all the way at the top. I think that's a bit too exaggerated. And not in the middle of the middle. That's just doesn't look good. So somewhere up here, 2/3, and then in the middle. Could put it a little bit to the right. Actually, that looks better. So I'm going to put it right here. So you just gotta mess around a bit until you get it the way you like it. So right here. Get it straight. And that's how we roll on the channel, guys. We mix all the best from the internet. We mix the technique from Jason Jensen with some of the materials and other tips from Boomer Dioramas. And that's just because everyone models different and everyone also has a different goal. I don't have the patience and also the skill, to be honest, of Boomer Dioramas, but he does have a lot of material experience. And the style that I want to model is a bit different than that of Jason Jensen, but he does have a good eye for color, taking the best of all worlds. So now, why these decals dry? Let's just start diving into the next topic, and that is a window dressing. Now, I bought this set, and I'm not gonna lie, I was a bit disappointed, because first off, it was not cheap. And second off, this is all that comes with. If you have a window, you need to put something behind it, so I'm just going to take some black cardboard or something like that. Now, if you're looking for window blinds for your own project, I made these myself. We have the roller type of blind in different heights, and here we have the other blinder type, again in different heights, or blinders, window dressing. And you can just cut these out just like this, or maybe leave some more margin just like that one. And then you can just stick them behind the window. You can add some fake glass to it, some clear plastic, or you can just add them just like that. And there you go, you have loads of blinds just right there. I'll make these available on my Patreon on the second tier, so that's the middle one out of the 3. And I'll include the file so you can change the height, and the width, and the scale, and everything you want. And you'll have enough blinds for the rest of your lifetime. So have a look there. And skipping forward, I just cut all the pieces out. And I glued the first one in already, as you see. So how do I do that? Just very easy. I just cut it to size. And then just put some matte medium first on the structure before I placed it, and then add some extra matte medium on the sides. Now I might switch to PVA glue because it dries a little bit faster. So no need to use this fancy matte medium. Now I need to glue this one in place. It's going to be easy. But all these other windows for these 15, 16, 17, 18, they cannot be made out of one sheet. They'll have to be cut into individual pieces. So let me see. I think I'm just going to tediously turn it around so you can reach in a little bit, add some glue, take some tweezers, and just one by one put them down, as you see now in the lovely B-roll. So that is all the window dressing done. Front and the back, sides as well. And I took the liberty to off cam just paint in a few bricks here and there in the mural, just to give it a little bit of that effect that it's a little bit older. On this side I went a bit more nuts, maybe a bit too much, but then again, from distance gives a nice effect. So now on to step number 6 or 7, or I don't know where we were, but it's the last step. And for that, I'm going to take this, what is it, charcoal gray. You could try to do it with just black, but I think that's a bit too much. And what are we going to do? Well, we're going to take a brush and we're going to dry brush these streaks on here. It's very dreary, rainy water streaks, just like that. And I'm going to take, you can even see it here on this dark wash. I'm going to take a brush. Let me see which brush. You guys know by now I really vandalize my brushes, and I have this one, and I dried it under a wash pin, so it really has a nice fan to it, as you can see. So that would be great for just dry brushing the streaks on there. So that's what we're going to do. And once this brush is all set in and dry brushed, I'm going to see if I can add a little bit of weathering to these decals, or these basically pieces of paper, because they're still a bit fresh for my taste. So let's give that a whirl and let's see how it goes. Now you see you can easily overdo this, so take it super slow. Rather do it a few times more than one time too much. And as you see, I'm just putting it only a little bit at the bottom of the windows. I could have done it here at the top as well, but I just think it's just becoming a bit too much. It's already very visible. So that's also a reason why I'm not taking the black, because you can just really easily, way too easily overshoot it. And this is not an effect you can easily wash off. But it is an effect that's really worth it if you do it well, because it really places the structure, it places the windows on the brick facade, and it just ties it all down a bit. And that is that. Look at that, I added some streak there so you can really see what it does. And I weathered this whole decal, did all the windows in the back, the windows in the side, did these a little bit longer just to showcase the feature. Did these decals as well in the front. Really happy with it. So here is the building with all the different steps. As you see, it's not 100% finished yet. You can look straight through the windows, and we still need a roof right there. So I'm actually just first going to put the roof on. That's done. It does need some how do you call that? Some chalks. For now, I just took a piece of polystyrene, painted it. That's the front, and then put some glue on it, and then put some sand on that. And then just painted that black. So that's one hole closed, and then of course we have all these windows now. We can just look straight through them. So I thought for now I'm just going to fill it up with a a shadow box. Was this piece of white leftover, a little bit thicker cardboard. I just painted black with a spray can, and I'm just going to pop that in there. All the sides that matter, they fit. And then that's just how it's going to be for now. It's a little bit black, but I can always go back later and change that or add some lighting or anything like that. But for now, I think I'm just going to leave it like this. And there we have it. The building is done. And now you also see a little bit why I am spending so much attention to detail, because all the shots of this near-north section of my layout pointed in this direction southwards all show this structure. So reason the more to give it a nice good detailing. So let's have a look. Really happy with how it turned out. Everything from the grime that's coming from the windows to that painted decal, another one there, to the overall look where down below it's a little bit darker. And up top is a little bit lighter. Then we have the back side, more of those streaks going on, just to show that there's water running down there, not to make it too obvious. Then we have the other side, which is the most beautiful side, I think, because not only did the brickwork really turn out very nice in this area, we also have that beautiful, no need to say more, it's toasted Lucky Strike commercial. And I had to actually look that up. I didn't get the pun. I'm sorry. It's not my generation. But it's toasted means that the cigarettes are somewhat dried in a different way. So they're more healthy, they say. That was at least the thinking back then. So we saw that. Showing all the window dressing. Then we have the front. And I might actually just go over the front one more time with a wash, to be honest. That's the thing. It's the buildings are never done. Never done. So guys, just to look a bit ahead, what we can expect, these are the 3 test samples. They all had a wash. The first one is the only one that had the mortar and brick detailing. The middle one had brick detailing, and the last one only had the wash. And this last piece actually also looks quite good. So everyone who's following the channel, we have this other kit bash that we're working on. It's a bit of a different scale than the other building. And we're going to do only the wash on this. I just painted it. A little bit of a sneak peek. All I did is paint it, but we're going to do the wash in here to see how that turns out. So do stay tuned. That building is also going to get a fire escape, as you see here, so that's going to look awesome. So stay tuned. Thank you guys all for watching. That's it for today. Don't forget to subscribe and like if you watch this video and if you're still watching. Thank you very much. Bye bye.